Good afternoon, happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everyone's having a swell week, If I could have you first just like this video, maybe leave me a comment, an emoji, anything. It doesn't matter, just leave me something for the algorithm. We're coming up on 300 subscribers, so, I'm pumped about it, and I know what you're thinking. 300 ain't nothing, right? Well, tell that to the Spartans. Tell that to the Spartans and ask the Persians how they felt about 300, right?
Spartans! What is your profession?
I have a crazy story for you today, and it is from 2015 when the U.S. government decided it was just a great way to spend U.S. taxpayer dollar was to go over to Afghanistan and build a gas station worth $43 million, right? And I know what you're thinking. You're like, how the heck did Afghanistan get a Buc-ee's before my state did? How did this happen? Well, it didn't. It was a small natural gas station in Afghanistan. Natural gas, by the way. And yeah, guess who was held accountable for this waste of taxpayer dollar? Just guess.
Chair of that Senate subcommittee, Senator Kelly Ayotte, is here to go on the record. Good evening, Senator.
Good evening, Greta.
So how much did that gas station cost?
Well, actually, this is the big issue. The DOD really can't say how much the gas station costs, but the Special Inspector General found that the gas station cost $43 million. But what the bigger issue is, you put that $43 million for the gas station, your average Afghan, what it costs to convert, if they have an automobile, is their salary for the entire year to the type of gas, the compressed natural gas that this station would serve.
Yeah, so just to kindergarten this moment down a little bit, right? They decided to put a natural gas station, fueling station, right, in Afghanistan. That would be like opening a freaking butcher in the middle of downtown LA and expect people to go there,
But this is part of a bigger task force where $800 million was appropriated. And Greta, today this hearing, shocking what came out and what little accountability we have for those dollars.
All right, do we know, let's just take this gas station, just take one. Do we know who okayed the payment?
Well, I can assure you that there was the person in charge of the task force at the time, but they reported to DOD, and that answer that answer was not given today.
Well, I want to know who's doing this. For starters, look, if Haiti had $43 million for a gas station and we heard that they couldn't account for it, we'd all say that's incredible. What corruption? Here in the United States, we have $43 million spent on something that we can't track down. Why isn't anyone screaming corruption? Why isn't the Attorney General convening a criminal investigation?
And here's what we did today. We're going to get a full audit because it's not just the $43 million.
Oh, I know that.
This is $800 million. Okay, $150 million.
Yeah, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, at this point in the story, we should probably know who was held accountable for this. Well, when Sagar asked the Pentagon where the money went, right, the Pentagon replied, well, everybody that we hired to do all this contracting, even the people who signed off on it in the first place, well, somehow all that information, well, it was deleted. It was shredded. It's gone. The companies that we hired to build this place, they're dismantled. They're gone. They deleted all their paperwork. We don't even know who actually worked at these companies. We have no idea, so there's no answers that we can give you. Yeah, and it gets more and more interesting as we find out what else they built in Afghanistan on the U.S. taxpayer dollar.
For villas that were used apparently for 5 to 10 people. Fancy villas in Afghanistan.
$150 million.
$150 million appropriated.
There they are, right there.
They could have stayed on base. No accounting for that. Money
they could have commuted.
Absolutely.
They could have been commuters from Paris at the Four Seasons. It would have been cheaper.
It's even worse. So we haven't had any account for money. Apparently, they spent importing Italian goats to Afghanistan, traveling for carpeting, the carpeting business.
Now I'm going to break into something that you won't hear about these days anymore. You know who reported on this in 2015 about government waste? CNN. Here's the article right here. You can read it for yourself. Yeah, CNN reported on it, but now they think that Doge is a bad idea.
And no accounting for that. Money for an ice cream business that apparently they use one of these villas for, no accounting for that. A jewelry business, no accounting for that. $55 million spent on oil tenders so that the Chinese could get a contract in Afghanistan. Our $55 million for the Chinese to get a contract.
All right, you know what the problem is? Somebody needs to go to jail. We have one perp walk, because I do not believe you can have $800 million spent on this stuff and that nobody stole something or pocketed something.
Well, and that's why we need a full accounting.
The Attorney General, you were a state Attorney General. The Attorney General of the United States should be convening a grand jury and put people before the grand jury and say, where is this money? Who wrote the check?
I fully agree. And one of the things, though, the SIGAR, the Inspector General, they do have some criminal investigations pending here. And part of the problem is you heard the answer of DOD, basically, well, we can't account for the records. We don't know what happened.
Well, let's get some names out there. All right, let's find out. Well, let's see who okayed the check for about $43 million for a gas station. We'll put the name and picture up on the screen.
We'll get it.
We'll get a few.
This is not the end of this. We're going to go after this.
Yeah, and guess how many people were fired or put in jail after this waste, fraud, and abuse, I would call it? No one. No, not a soul. No one was punished. No one cared. No one cared that $42 million was spent on a small gas station that was absolutely useless, completely useless. You know, Democrat ideas have Democrat results, and that's what you get. But an Army colonel was asked to look into it, and he decided to, and guess what happened to him? Yeah, nothing good. Here's a story on that.
Fallout over the expensive natural gas station the Defense Department built in Afghanistan. New at 6, Channel 2's Justin Gray reports the whistleblower who exposed the questionable spending now says he's getting punished for speaking up.
A $43 million gas station. We told you about the price tag for this Afghanistan natural gas facility earlier this month, but it was Colonel John Hope who first raised questions about the gas station and other spending in this after-action report he filed with his superiors at the Pentagon.
I was asked to produce a report, which I did. It was factual, it was accurate, and it was truthful.
But now Hope says he's facing retaliation from the Pentagon for speaking up. His officer evaluation, now months overdue. Without it, his future after 28 years of Army service is in limbo.
The Army doesn't issue whistles with their uniforms anymore, so one man's whistleblower is probably another man's truth teller.
In a letter to the Secretary of Defense, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley demanded answers, questioning whether Hope had been, quote, singled out for retaliation and retribution for speaking truth about a lack of accountability. These are Colonel Hope's officer evaluations from 2014 and 2013, a supervisor calling him a top 1% officer, a general writing that Hope is one of the top 20 colonels he's ever served with in a 40-year career.
I exhausted every opportunity and possibility I could to solve this within the system, and the system has not responded to me.
I reached out to the Pentagon. A spokesman tells me they don't comment publicly on officer evaluations, but he says they are working to respond to Senator Grassley's questions about Colonel Hope and that $43 million gas station. Reporting in Washington, Justin Gray, Channel 2 Action News.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible what happened to this guy because he seemed to be a squared away dude, right? 28 years of service. That's a long time. That is a very long time of doing the right thing, you know? And as soon as he looked into something that he seemed to be kind of, you know, corrupt, he was like, this looks odd to me. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to report to the Pentagon on this. And the Pentagon said, no, sir, you're not doing that. So what they did was they stonewalled him. They took away his recommendations and they screwed him, right? So I looked more into it and I can't find if he stayed in for much longer. And Skynet didn't help me with that. I tried looking into Skynet to see if they knew, but they don't know a whole lot about this Colonel John Hope either. So I hope everything went well for him. You know, hopefully he's not unalived somewhere for looking into government corruption, which is it's a possibility. It's a possibility in our modern day. It's, you know, terrible stuff. But yeah, this is 100% why the people need Doge. The government doesn't want Doge. Well, some of the government, I would say the blue side of the government doesn't want Doge. I mean, ask Maxine Walters or Jasmine Crockett. They don't want anything to do with Doge. They think Doge is too powerful. Well, the reason they think Doge is too powerful is because they're corrupt, period. That's all that's to it. And the people that are saying, get rid of Doge, stop auditing the government, what is wrong with you? Come on now. It just doesn't make any sense that even after seeing a story like this, that you could say, yeah, my taxpayer or my tax dollars went to the right place, right? It makes no sense. But yeah, I thought you guys would like this story. I found it very interesting, and just know that this government overspending, overreach, and corruption has been happening for a very, very long time. That specifically was under Barack Obama, you know, the people's Jesus of presidents. But yeah, that's what I have for you on this Thursday. So I hope you enjoyed this segment of the show. I'm going to call it Government Corruption and the Rise of 300, you know. Hopefully we get there. Hopefully we get to 300. Yeah, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Get out there, do some PT, change your socks, drink some water. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.